if my numbering's correct. So going on this week, I know myself had a couple things. I put some work into mark boards. It's kind of
Wow, that's interesting.
okay,
Okay.
thank you. Had some yeah, I had some time. I wanted to get something done, and that was on my to-do list. So I redid the whole marks guide. I think it's a lot easier to read now. It's just a set of 5 images, each one that lists something like 20 marks each or something, has a picture, name, explanation, everything like that. And that also involved redoing some of their entries in the codex and stuff like that. And then I actually changed a bit how mark boards work. Not like super drastic, but I just added people's names like in the mark board in the color of their house, with their titles like Lord or Earl or what have you. And I think that's going to work pretty well because it makes it a lot easier to swap like the spots mark boards are in because it's ordered by rank with Einherjar at the top and then ordered by rank, and it's a lot easier to swap people around if people get promoted or whatever this way because before, well, it's a bit hard to explain, but it's much easier this way anyway. So that'll be nice. One thing, well, let's see. I guess we talked a little bit about knights last week, but there has been more talk about that. But I think happening a bit more behind the scenes now. I'll just say anyone in House Dippity, uh, we haven't really done any plans for bringing back the White Knights just yet, so you're not missing out on anything. And when I do, I want there to be like an element of like surprise, I guess. Like so it's like if you train to become a White Knight, it's not like you already know everything that is going to be happening, and you already know all the training and everything like that. So there's going to be like an element of that, but I also do want to try to involve um, the house at least somewhat. I think what I was planning on doing, if we get around to it, would be to just kind of post in Dippity chat, hit everybody up, say, hey, if you have any ideas or suggestions for Dippity nights, just message me or let me know. And then probably what I'll do is just incorporate, all the best stuff. And you won't necessarily know if everything, but maybe if you have a great idea, it might get incorporated in. So that way everyone's kind of involved, but it's not like we're spoiling the whole thing by having like a training Google Doc that everyone's all reading or something like that. So I think that's what I'm going to do, but not sure. I mean, that's something I'll probably talk to a lot of the old white knights and Dippity leadership and everything like that, and try to get some stuff put together while at the same time trying to make it so it is a surprise for any future apprentices. But all that's in the future right now. Like I said, at least as far as festivity, we haven't done much. I don't know exactly what's going on with the other houses, but I have talked with the Council of Lords a lot about knights. We're kind of brainstorming some stuff, and as far as another stuff going on in House Dane, in that regard, Rand is putting together some stuff, but don't know specifics right now. So yeah, I'm not sure how much he wants to. I think he wants to keep it fairly secret. But I don't know if more info will come out on that later. But at the very least, I am pretty sure that yeah, that's still very much on the table and something that he's working on as far as I'm not actually even sure if it's Rangers or a new Night Order, but something in regards to House State and Knights. I know Rand has been talking to some of the earls and stuff, and putting some time into that. Other than that, let's see. Couple of miscellaneous things that I was gonna work on that should all be pretty easy actually. Yule 20. One thing, a random little thing I found. I don't know if this interests anybody. I found a little interesting was for the longest time the Yule 2010 mark has been treated as participating in the what I believe was a tournament we had around that time. But I actually found the thread that Dane posted in which he said people will receive a mark for participating in any festivities at all during UL 2010, including just changing your name to Snow WA, counted as participation. So I almost want to say just about anybody who was in WA in December 2010 probably earned that mark. And I think, yeah, I think, and I just,
I definitely remember doing that.
yeah, like I just carried over the description of the mark from the old descriptions Moscow had, 9 years ago, or whatever, 8 years ago maybe for that one, and it was, yeah, participated in a tournament. But I found Dane himself actually said that the mark should be for anybody who participated in any festivities. So I'm gonna update that, and might wind up with some more people getting the mark. We'll see. And yeah, if you haven't already, I did add a mark request thing. I posted in announcements. It's also on the forums and in the monolith, where basically all the threads you could ever need to access for any kind of official WA capacity at all are all going to be in the monolith on the forums, that subforum. And yeah, there's a spreadsheet where you can request mark board updates. It also has a second page with the marks guide on it, if you need that. And yeah, so far nobody has used it, I think, besides Soullight once. So I definitely encourage people to do it. I mean, it makes it pretty easy for me, honestly, to make mark boards. I mean, I don't feel like it's like, you know, putting work that I have to do or something like that. It's actually pretty easy if I know which marks people have and which mark background they want. It's really pretty easy to do. That's kind of the reason I made that.
I
But
mean, don't expect me to be requesting something if I haven't earned it yet, you know?
yeah, yeah, that too. Yeah, I know some
It
people.
sounds like you're disappointed that people haven't requested.
Well, I say that because I know there's a lot of people that the mark boards need some updates, and uh, nobody's requesting it. But yeah, I know some people's are just up to date and they have a background they like. So yeah, if you're that's you, just forget about it. But yeah, so I guess mostly mark stuff this week that I'm working on. I know there's a few miscellaneous things we've been doing on the Scribes Guild, some random codex entries. I know, let's see, Soullight had suggested to me like a random thing, like a motto entry that just lists the house mottos. Thought that was a good idea, added that. So, yeah, just kind of a few random things. I mean, I still really like making codex entries, so if you ever have suggestions like that, just throw them my way, throw them the Scribes Guild way, and we can put something together. Yeah, I guess that's about all I've been working on as far as stuff coming up. Yeah, I think I mentioned a couple of random things. I have to make some mark boards, a few more mark boards, and yeah, I guess that's about it. I'll probably not entirely sure what I'll be going for next. I got one or two things I could work on, some writing stuff for WA pretty much that might be next on the table. But yeah, let's open up. Anybody have any ideas, questions, suggestions, discussion topics, anything like that?
I'd love to bring something up. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah,
I don't know.
all good. Let's see if I can. Well, I'll list one or two. I'll just go in a little more specifics here. Then a little bit of housekeeping stuff. Yeah, updating that UO 2010 mark. The one thing I messed up is the Festival of Ostara Year 2 mark should actually replace your Year 1 mark. It's just like a year mark or like a years of service mark, where it says like how many years you've participated in it with a Roman numeral. So I messed that up, I believe, on me and Soullight's boards. So
Technically, participation isn't a requirement on it. I think part of the description is that as from date of recruitment, even if you were out gone for 10 years, it still counts as those 10.
yeah, for the years of service mark, this is yeah for the festival mark. I mean, it's kind of treated the same, but yeah, I guess I mean there is the difference where you can't like if somebody, let's say somebody leaves right now and then they come back in 5 years, you wouldn't get like the Festival of Austria Year 7 mark because you weren't here for five of them. But
One
yeah,
question I did have: are you ever going to factor in the other Yule years? Because I know that there were Yule celebrations, every year, but there's only like two marks, one for 2017 and one for 2010.
I would say so. 2016, I was emperor for, and we didn't really do much.
I
Um,
seem to recall, I think it was 2012 or 2013, that there was a recruitment tournament. And there's actually records of that because those were all posted in
I,
the forums.
I think there was, yeah. It is actually something that crossed my mind. I guess my first instinct was not to like retroactively create marks for it, but I guess it's possible. I mean, there are other Yule marks. There's a precedent for it, and if there is significant stuff going on during Yule, I think.
Most of those tournaments were documented pretty well.
Yeah, possibly I can make some marks for that. I'll make a note for that. Okay, cool. Yeah, probably we can make one. I think the biggest hurdle is probably me figuring out how to design the mark, because that's actually the one. Most marks I've made it wasn't too hard to come up with an idea for how they look, but the Yule marks, there's only so many like wreaths and Christmas trees and green and red designs you can come up with. So I'll give it a go though. Let's see. Well, one thing, this is a little note I made that I think Kusiag suggested to me. If I remember correctly, hopefully I'm not taking credit away from somebody, but he suggested something called Iron Yard Day. And this was sort of Kusiag was talking about festivals and stuff and saying, well, maybe we should have a couple more events throughout the year because we kind of got Yule, we've got Alpha Blood, and then we've got the four House Commander festivals. And that's kind of it. I mean, we've got the anniversary too. And he was saying maybe we find some kind of gap there, and we have an Einer Yard Day. And his idea I thought was pretty cool, which was you kind of maybe change your avatar, or your username, or whatever to sort of dress up in a way, in a way as your favorite Iron Yard. You just pick one, and then we have some sort of channel where you share something like favorite quote or story about them, or why you like them, or something like that.
I'll be 100% honest. I don't know who the Ironheads are. I don't know which ones they are.
Oh yeah, it's all on a page. If you go to wacer.net, there's just an IronYar button, and or you can just go right there, wacer.net/IronYar, and it lists everybody there. Basically, I think way back when there was this a little bit of uncertainty. I think in regards to who Dane considered IronYar, because I think he almost listed people as IronYar just people he thought were important, not necessarily everybody with titles. And I think it was Moscow mostly who sort of kind of drew the line and said, okay, let's actually codify this. Let's say everybody with a title is called an Einar, and that's what I've been doing. And basically, it's everyone has an official title, and there's a few like unofficial titles that I made official, like Deutschland and Darkwolf, I think are two. Deutschland was always called Seeker Deutschland. It's the founder of the Latelings who are the Seekers, and he didn't actually have the official title, the Seekers. So I did that, and then I also made official Darkwolf the Bold. He had that sort of unofficial title in House Commander. So, but
I do have a quick question since we're on that topic. Um, is Commander a saint, considering his title?
see, it's funny because I specifically made that a Uko trivia question because I think it's an interesting little question. And
Yeah.
technically, no, he is not. It is
Okay.
just his title.
Because I've heard two different um positions on that. I heard, and that's why I asked, because originally I thought he was a saint just because it had his title had it, but then I was informed it was just a title and not sainthood.
Yeah, it's a little confusing. Yeah, I mean, at least anything I would do as long as I'm, hiking would be have Saint. I mean, would follow the same format, like Saint and then their name and then their title. So like Saint Dane the Proud.
Yeah.
So I mean, if anybody was a saint, that's the format I would use. And I always kind of viewed Commander's title as saying like this guy has done good stuff enough that he could really probably be a saint, but he's also done a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's kind of the deal.
I feel like you should just make it official, to be honest. It causes less confusion.
That he's a saint.
I mean, yeah, I know I did a lot of bad stuff from.
I'm a little torn on that. I'd want the original, person in from my house to have the sainthood, but at the same time, does he really deserve it?
Yeah, it's definitely something to debate. I don't know if would it help if I included in the little description on the website that he is not a saint?
I mean, for anyone who's just reading it like that, it doesn't really matter. I think. It was just a question out of curiosity because I wasn't clear on it.
Gotcha.
I mean, I understand it's his title, but I'm not sure how I feel about like him being called Saint Camander with him not being a saint.
But I thought he was.
Thomas, did you just listen to the conversation?
I think he just joined. Um, yeah, technically, yeah, he's not a saint. He just has that. Just, I mean, I guess I could change his title, but frankly, I mean, myself, I don't think I'd ever change his title because to me, it's like at this point, it feels like really fundamental to like the House Commander identity is that sort of.
Oh, I wouldn't change it either. I think it's fine the way it is. It was just the fact that he's a saint or not. I
Yeah,
don't think we need to touch it.
yeah, that's kind of my personal feeling, and I kind of think that sort of that good with the bad sort of thing is actually something both House Deputy and House Commander actually kind of take pretty central in their identity now. You know, I know House Deputy, we've got the Laylings, we've got the whole saga of House Deputy is basically about, Laylings rebelling and everything like that. But I feel like that's always been something where we've kind of gone like, yeah, that happened, but we're also doing lots of good stuff. And I feel like House Commander is sort of a similar thing. I mean, even some of like the festivals reflecting this and stuff like that. That Commander did some great stuff and also led a bunch of rebel clans trying to destroy WA and a bunch of stuff like this. So, um, to me, it's like a math problem, right? It's like really good minus really bad. The net result is Einar not Saint. I don't know. That's how I see it in my head.
Yeah. That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, I think I guess there's sort of a distinction in that the Saints are considered to not really have done anything bad. I kind of hesitate to say that, but um, yeah, I guess like I just think of a lot of Einherjar, like I think Warrior is another example where maybe they've done something that caused a lot of problems, but like doesn't mean that they're not Einherjar, but I think that it might mean that they're not Saints. At least I don't see a Saint Warrior happening, but I suppose anything's possible. I mean, I actually really like Warrior, but I think I have to be, neutral and something like that. Let's see if I have anything else on here. Yeah, a few of the things, writing things I was going to work on. I've been procrastinating it a lot. Ricky later did a lot of work on adding specific missions for relics, and I've yet to really finalize that and incorporate it into the system. That is something I'm definitely going to do. I just need to get around to it. And then I need to write a treatise on the White Knights or something I wanted to do, and then also write some descriptions for some of the WA ships. So those are just some kind of culture lore writing things I need to get done.
I'm excited to see what you think the ships look like.
Yeah,
The big ones.
it should be fun. I definitely it will be fun to figure out, I guess.
XD.
So anybody have anything else they wanted to bring up?
Things earlier than 1 a.m., please. Like, genuinely, I'm dying here.
It's fine. You have the day off tomorrow.
I know.
You don't have to be here. You know you can watch these later.
No, it's not the same.
She wants to be involved. Like, I think.
And I can't,
Movie night is like
because
the only thing
nothing
she
is
can be
before 1
involved with.
a.m. I have a job.
Actually, I do have something to bring up, Vest. I had a question for you. Hearing Artie's voice just clicked it in my head. Okay, it's weird. I know. It's just an idea I had because I discussed it with her once, and I was wondering, would it be you know how war bands have focuses based on games or genres of games, right?
Yeah.
In the case of Artie, would it potentially be okay to make a war band based on time zone?
Based on what?
Time zone. Glau! Stop!
Sorry.
Mute your damn mic.
Pedro, this is turning into EVE Online. Please stop.
A warband based on time zone.
Time zone. Yes,
At
because
least in terms of Atlantic, other side of the Atlantic, probably.
Like a European.
Like the European Guild. Yeah.
I don't
My-
see
my-
an issue with. I would think
We would probably need enough to justify it.
We would call them the exiled.
It's an
Oh, wait.
idea I had because Artie kept complaining. It's true. It kind of sucks for her and her brother and stuff that they miss a lot of events. And if we were to get enough people, to warrant a war band, it'd be nice for them to be, in one place organizing their own events.
Let's
was
not kid
wondering
ourselves. They would all be wrestlings.
I'm not gonna lie, Avery's got like 4 more friends he's thinking about bringing in, and I told him to hold off because he already invited like 3 people in 3 days.
I mean, to be honest, the more the
The
merrier.
rate doesn't matter that much.
As long as they are quality people and he is following standard
To
recruiting
be honest, he
practices.
brought in the crappy
more the
one, but
merrier.
he's actually being choosy with the rest of them.
I hope so.
I know the first 3 suck.
Yikes!
Oh, that's on the record.
Yep.
well,
Unless they watch this video.
yeah, I think having a warband based on time zone would be fine. I feel like I would want there to be like a second focus that generally binds everybody together, like whether it be like a certain genre of games or even something like role playing or something. I think would be nice to have like 2 focuses, but I think that does make a lot of sense. Yeah,
It's a little premature right now. I just thought, hey, I might as well ask because I thought,
I was kind of actually thinking about that as well because, I feel for that because, especially when I would like not be able to do things at work like I am right now. And, I would like work unconventional hours like overnight and things like that. That's sucks because then there's like the whole daytime and nobody else is on at that time.
Yeah, we may have a stronger basis for it in the coming year because I'll be moving over there, and I might be able to start trying to expand it into more than just small British boys. We can hopefully have a stronger player base over there, and maybe at that point we can have a separate, I don't know, division of sorts or a war band. Maybe we could start off with like RPGs because I'm not sure what Warframe would count as, but I know that a lot of the kids that Avery brings in are mostly primarily Warband, but Warframe, but they also do other things. And Artie and I are definitely heavily into RPGs, so probably wouldn't like even though they aren't all like co-op, some of them are, and it probably would be a decent catch-all category that many people could get involved in, and that still also covers stuff like D&D or role-playing even. So it's kind of a broad category.
You know what, like the ultimate goal would be is to recruit enough people to have multiple EU war bands that have different focuses.
Global domination.
But I really want someone who's on the west coast of like North America to run it though for memes.
I
You
frankly
know.
would be at this point
You know.
Oh
currently.
yeah, Glarong is like already setting himself up to lead it, so
I've said it many times. I don't like leading things, but if I have to,
I just want to mention something before we talk about like making a whole war band about it. As we're in the early stages. I work overnights, and my Saturdays and Sundays consist of playing games by myself because no one in WA is online at that time.
I'm
So,
always there, okay?
I
I'm
would
in
run an
hell for
overnight
whole
event.
weekends.
But I've had no demand for it, so I haven't because no one's online. Like every voice channel is empty. So if people want, I can run events overnight. I just haven't had anyone ask me, or mention any interest in it because everyone's already asleep.
I mean, the thing that I talked about was maybe like a matinee movie night, just like watch the movie, but earlier. That's the thing that I suggested, just like to start off with, while there's not that many British people, But I don't know.
We also have Kiwis.
Yeah.
We have
More
one.
than
Let's get
quite a
Sildor
bit
to lead the
further
new
ahead,
war band.
because we got Donnie D now. Donnie D, the furniture scammer. He's Australian. He's not a Kiwi, and I think Ath is trying to bring in another Kiwi that he's played with on ESO quite frequently.
The sun never sets on the Viking Empire.
Ironically, I bet some of the old Stone Stars would say that the Saga of the Stone Stars was actually a combat between Americans and Australians, because a lot of the Isengrim were Australian actually.
Wait, then what were we?
Well, okay. I guess there's what, 2 Canadians in there. You guys were
No. Yeah, I guess.
Canadians are just pseudo-Americans.
No, but I don't mean like Canadians. I mean like there's like 3 sides to that conflict. There's the Instagram, the Stone Star. There's like me, you, and Soulite that are like in the middle of it.
Oh yeah. I guess I was in Minnesota at the
Obviously,
time,
the
so
Canadians.
I'll count myself as like a junior Canadian, and we'll say that was Canada.
It was like the different landings in Normandy against.
But yeah, anyway, definitely just a joke. Certainly happy to have. I think it's actually especially awesome to have people from outside the U.S. and especially now that we have some, it would be awesome to get more. So yeah, we can do things like have events where you guys can actually go to them and have even I think war bands for other time zones, stuff like that is a great idea and definitely something we can do.
Split war bands into country.
If we really expand and have like a house war, but a country war instead.
Funny enough, I don't think the Canadian war band would even be that small.
It's just like
It'd be too polite to fight.
Like Code Geass, you're in some like Japanese administration zone, and you can have like a Canadian administrative zone.
Britain just told us that the Nazis had the puck. That was it.
So anybody have anything else they would want to bring up?
Oh yeah. Accepting ideas for what you guys want to do for like a PvP event, because I feel like the Yarnrith has calmed down a bit and it's been a while. I'm ready to start something up again. So if anyone wants to message me with like ideas for events or something, because I don't really want it to be league based. Like there's definitely gonna be league-based events, but like the next one, I kind of want to step outside that so I don't get hit with the "you only make league events" meme.
How come you only make league events?
Can we do
Was that a microaggression?
How come I don't only make Warframe events?
Trigger warning, we're talking about League.
I just really don't want to play League, so I want events somewhere else.
Yeah, you should play Dota. Let's go.
No, thanks.
I got something for people if they're interested. If anyone wants to give input on suggestions for either any kind of research that wants to be done, maybe we can write a codex about it, or Bjorn is working on WA lesson things. We can have him queue up maybe the next topic. So like I'd rather field requests if people were actively interested in things rather than just kind of, setting him on, automate, like some, civilian from Civ, 5, right? He's just going to do his thing, right? But if there's like a priority to things, I'd rather him do that. So like I said, codexes, any research you want done. I know Raud, you were sort of looking at lessons as well, as one of your holdover tasks from Soulite. So maybe we could work together, focus people's energies a little bit and see what kind of interest spawns from that.
Yeah, I'm definitely down with that.
I actually had one research request. I posted it in Scribe Skill, but I did a little bit of looking for it myself and couldn't find too much. So I don't know if anybody else would have better luck, but I was curious about the all of the house wars and or batchall wars we've ever had, and trying to find out more about them and number them. Because right now we've basically only got some basic info on House War 1, and then House War 4, and then quite a bit of info on House War 5. And then before or after those, between 1, 4, and 5, it's not really a lot of info. So I would assume there was a 2 and a 3, you
When did
know,
those
but...
take place?
House War 4 would have been, I believe, I'm not sure I actually have an exact date, but I believe it would have been early 2008. House War 5 was 2010, early 2010, I believe.
I
And
could have sworn there was some after that.
yeah, there was definitely at least like a batchall war after that, and I mean, we'll have
If
to
there was
figure.
any in the, if there was any in between 2011 and 2013, I might have some records of it that I passed to an area on. As long as something went down in the main clan channel on Food War.
Yeah, there might be some threads or something, but anyway, that was just something I thought would be cool to get some codex entries or research or something done, just all the house wars and or batchall wars.
Okay. I will make a note of that.
Cool.
I guess the one thing I want to mention is that within the next week or two, I plan on having companions of a gear meeting. It's more targeted towards, you know, like officers, but if anybody, I keep on pushing. If anybody has any suggestions or ideas for anything you want to see out of the great company, let me know, and I'll work out the logistics of the meeting as to like when and where it'll be held. So I'll either bring it up or I might open it up to the entire great company. That just might be a little bit hectic, so that's the only reason why I'm kind of thinking about refraining from doing that. But I know I want to talk about designs of the ship and just some practices I want to start implementing. So yeah, come forth with any suggestions you might have.
Awesome. Well, we've got a solid 34 minutes. I don't know, maybe we'll wind down. Anybody have any final thoughts, questions, anything they want to bring up? Okay. Well, I guess we'll be back next week. Thanks anyone watching live, watching the VOD. And thanks everyone for attending. We will, be back next Thursday at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern time. So we'll see everybody then.
Happy Easter!
That's it.
Happy
You know what? Twitch.tv